Even more, telling it just like it is. Most of all, keeping it real. Are you ready for real talk? Changing lives and communities. Real talk. Saving all our families. Real talk. Bringing hope for you and me. Real talk. Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy on the radio. Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy on the radio.
Well, hello. Thank you again for tuning in to the Real Talk with Judy live radio show. I want to thank you for giving me 1 hour to empower you, inspire you, and to build your faith, to give you information and just to educate you and make an indelible impact upon your life. I want to thank you again. Everything you want to accomplish, I always want you to remember this. Everything you want to accomplish is possible if you only believe. Philippians 4:13 said, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, So my sisters and brothers, guess what? You have to see it before you see it, or you never will see it, and that's real talk. I am Dr. Judy, the host of this amazing and impactful live radio show. And to all of you, thank you for joining me once again via radio, Facebook Live, YouTube, and the radio app. Again, I'm honored and thankful that you have chosen to join me. So listen, you know, those of you who've been here before, you know exactly what I like to do. I would like for you to go ahead and contact your friends, your family. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, go ahead and share this live recording so you can get others on. Listen, this is what I know. I say this every show. But this is very important right here. I want you to get everyone on for today's show. I want you to get your families, your friends, everyone on. Today's show is going to be impactful. And guess what? It just might save your life or a family member or a friend or neighbor. And so get them on because this show is going to be, worth the information. And then I want you to do me a favor. I want you to go ahead and share it. Go ahead and share it while we're even getting started. Go ahead and share so they can be ready and then they too can share. We want everybody sharing today so we can get this information out. And while you're doing that, I'm going to say hello to my wonderful and beautiful mother, Hannah Wesley, there in Fort Lauderdale. She is the reason I am who I am. She is still my trusted advisor and mentor, my number one mentor. When I was in school, they would always ask, the question, so who do you want to be, or who is your hero, or who would you like to be when you grow up? And my answer has always been, and I'm 66 years old, and it is still my mother. Absolutely. She has made an indelible impact upon my life. And once again, I want to thank all of you who have prayed for her. For those of you who have seen her on Facebook, she's still here. And it's my time to go down there next week to be with her. And I am excited about that. And to my awesome and amazing husband, Gerald Mandrell, thank you, sweetheart. I absolutely appreciate you so very much. And I am so glad that you are probably listening to me. I hope you are. But he is the reason I get to do this every single day. And I just want to thank him so very much. I love that man. I love him. I love you, sweetheart. And to my amazing production team led by our marketing director, Priscilla John Louis, and her staff, thank you again, Priscilla, for all that you do to help us be successful in this area. So today, my show is about human trafficking. And that's why I want you to get as many people as you can on here, because we're going to discuss this very important, sometimes misunderstood crime. I guess I can call it that. Crime in our world. But I have a remarkable guest who has joined me today, y'all. She's gonna help us understand so much better. She's going to help me understand so much better help us understand so much better what this is all about. The goal today is to inform and empower you, not to sensationalize or instill fear. We don't want you fearful. We're not trying to sensationalize it, but we want you to be informed, educated about human trafficking. Because, like me, some of you may have thought it was just the white van, the white dirty van with no windows, and somebody gonna run out and grab you. But my guest today is the executive director of the Survive and Thrive Advocacy Center, known as STAC. It's a nonprofit agency. She co-founded it in 2025 to assist survivors of human trafficking. Her work focuses on, and if I'm making a mistake, she's gonna correct. She's gonna correct. She's also an attorney, so she would be taking care of me today. If I mess up, she would correct me immediately, so we would not do it. I would not be giving out false information. But anyway, she's gonna correct. I said something incorrect, but she's gonna correct it. And just I saw her face, right? But her work focuses on how survivors of human trafficking can more effectively achieve support and justice in their lives. In 2014, she was appointed by the Chief Justice of the Florida Supreme Court to serve on Florida's first Commission on Access to Civil Justice until June 2020. She served on the Tallahassee and Leon County Commission on the status of women and girls from 2011 to 2014, and she chaired that body from 2012 to 2014, and she is now a community partner with us in the victim advocacy committee, and I'm currently a commissioner on the Tallahassee Leon County Commission on the status of women and girls, and I believe that we got them listening today as well. And Robin led Florida's first task force on domestic and sexual violence from 1993 to 1998 as its executive director at the request of the United States Department of Justice. She served on the National Advisory Council on Violence Against Women. She holds both a Juris Doctorate and master's degree from Florida State University and a BA from American University in Washington. Ladies and gentlemen, I read all of that because I wanted you to know that we have a well qualified, a very experienced, and not only that, she's very passionate about the safety, the lives, and the well-being of women and girls, actually people. And so I am honored to have with us today Ms. Robin Hassler Thompson. Welcome to the Real Talk with Judy live radio show.
Thank you, Dr. Judy. It's so great to be with you. I am so honored to be sharing this space and to be on your radio show, because this show is really one of the most important ways to get information out in our community and our world. You are amazing. So I thank you for that. And I didn't have a chance to tell you this, but I grew up in Fort Lauderdale too.
Did you?
I did, and I left Fort Lauderdale right after high school, and then went to DC, and I hadn't been back. So we are Fort Lauderdale women.
What school did you graduate from?
I graduated from St. Thomas Aquinas High School.
Okay.
I went to Lauderdale Manors and Everglades and St. Thomas, and so I have a warm spot in my heart for you, even more, knowing that we are sisters in Fort Lauderdale for sure. And I send love to your mom also, because I say the same thing. My mom's 95.
Wow.
And she has been the mentor, has been the guide, has been the spiritual, opening of doors for me. So I share that too. So thank you for saying all that. It just made me smile on the inside and out. And I just thank you.
Thank you, Miss Robin. Your mom is 95?
95.
Wow, what a blessing. My mom is
Truly.
86.
Wow.
And my sister and my niece are her primary caregiver. They spoil her rotten.
Nice. Well, as they should.
Yes, ma'am. And I'll be going home next Monday to spend a week with her there to kind of help give my sisters a break. So we all take turns. My baby sister who's here with me, my sister, but we take care of her.
That's beautiful.
We take care of her because and as your mom, I'm sure, poured so much into you as a child, and she was a role model and still is for us. And so we try to make her proud.
Yes, ma'am.
We want to make her smile.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, and I'm blessed that she's here in Tallahassee.
Wow.
So she's in care because that's where we're at in her life, and I see her all the time. So it is wonderful.
Yes. Now, Miss Robin, correct whatever I messed up.
I'm laughing because you said we founded STAC in 2025. I want to get
Did
credit
I say
for
2025?
Yeah, and it's been 10 years, so I just need to get credit. That's why we got some of these gray hairs going on here, because it's been 10 years.
2015.
2015 was when we incorporated. So we've been at it for a while, and even before that, I worked with the Human Rights Center at Florida State. So I've been doing this work for about 26 years in terms of the focus on human trafficking. So it has been it's been a journey. I've seen so many things happen and change, and yet there's still so much to do, and a lot hasn't. So that's why doing programs like this and being with you today and working with you on the Commission on the Status of Women as a community volunteer is really so important. It's what we do. It's the only way we can, as our agency works. And I'll tell you, in those 10 years, we've helped over 250 survivors directly with care. And so
Here in Tallahassee?
Here in Tallahassee and the whole surrounding area. So the 6 counties that are part of the 2nd Judicial Circuit. And with the help we do, we provide direct care. We can help people with their rent. We can help people be safe. We can buy them food. We can get them counseling and support, healthcare. So we provide direct care to survivors. Our advocate is Graciela Marquina, and Charlie Jackson is our other advocate. And then we also do tons of community education. So, it's a lot.
Yeah, and I'm glad to have you here because I know personally that there's a lot of misconception about human trafficking. And one of the things I know you will do today is to clear up a lot of the myths and to give us a lot of information of what it looked like, what it could look like, what to be on the lookout for. Some of the victims of because a lot of us, I know I did before I became more involved with you. I thought it was just it couldn't happen to me. It couldn't happen to anyone around me because it's not who they're looking for. It couldn't happen to boys or men or so. But being educated by you, by the training that we took, I found out a whole lot of things. And one of the things I found out is that human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar industry. They make a lot of money.
That's right. That's right. And whether it's a street gang or a mom and pop operation or a multinational criminal enterprise, human trafficking, they say, is the 2nd largest moneymaker in the crime, in the world of crime, if you will, right after drugs. And a lot of times too, and Sheriff McNeil told me this one time a while back, is that what they see is that if somebody is trafficking drugs, if they're involved in drugs, they're probably also involved in trafficking humans.
Wow.
And their their criminal portfolio, if you will, has a lot of different crimes in it. It can include everything from, what we think of as some of the more violent crimes, sexual assault and battery and everything like that. But it also includes things that are not violent, like identity theft and like forcing people into criminal acts, forcing people to commit crimes, like steal gift cards. So, really, when you're talking about a trafficker, you're really talking about somebody who's, you said it before, committing a lot of crimes, including trafficking.
Including traffic. Now you just mentioned mom and pop, and all are those what would you call them? Are those stations or what?
Yeah, it could be a restaurant. It could be a single. So a trafficker can be one person, and I'll tell you, when we started doing this work back whenever that was, 2001, we didn't use the phrases familial trafficking or parental trafficking very much, right? It was out there. Now what we're seeing is that we see family members trafficking other family members more and more, often to support a drug habit.
Okay.
And when that happens, it looks like an aunt or an uncle or a father or mother, passing around a child and, for sex. And then it can also mean they're forcing their family members into a labor situation. So, and when you say mom and pop, that could be a family that's running a business, or it can be like a business that looks legitimate on the outside, right? But behind closed doors, they're doing all kinds of crime, including trafficking of people. So it could be, I've seen cases where kind of the fine, upstanding members of the community, if you will, and I put that in quotes,
Yes,
they're trafficking. They might be doing other things. They might be not trafficking in other parts of their business portfolio, but they're also doing this to one or two or three or more people. And that can be U.S. citizens, or it could be foreign nationals.
What is a universal accepted definition of human trafficking? So I think if we start there, I really want you all take notes. Go ahead and share this if you would, please. Go ahead and share it so people can get this. Invite people on to listen. I have, again, Ms. Robin Hessler Thompson, who's on here today. She is executive director of STAC, and she's here to, number one, to inform us of what human trafficking really is, what it looked like. And she just gave us a whole wealth of information that just blew my mind, even with the mom and pop or either family members trafficking family members. Could be why some people, now this is not to make us fearful or start.
Right.
And when we have family reunion thinking Uncle Bubba is a trafficker, but it is to make us pay attention. Am I right, Ms. Robin?
Absolutely. And really, we do, sometimes when we do our trainings, we have a slide that shows an eye. And on the eye, we use the phrase, your eyes can't see what your brain doesn't know. So if you don't know it, you can't, because every time, law enforcement says, see something, say something, right?
Right.
But if you thought only girls were sex trafficked, you would miss the boy on the library steps, right? You would miss the, and if you only thought U.S. citizens were sex trafficked and people born in other countries were not, then you would miss it when you see somebody who was, say, a migrant farm worker who was also being sex trafficked as well as forced to work. So it's all about, so you can say something when you see something. We want to kind of give that information into your brain so that when you see it, you'll know what it is and you can take action. And that's what I know we're going to talk about what to do. So that's really what we're all about. And you asked for a quick and easy definition. So let's think about it in this way. And you said I'm a lawyer, so I'm not going to make it like a lawyerly definition. I'm going to be really straight and down to earth.
She's going to talk to us in layman.
And just like the basics. So it's really the exploitation of one person by another. So that exploitation, and I'll tell you a little bit more about what that exploitation involves. And they're motivated by commercial gain or benefit. So when you think of it in terms of someone exploiting someone for profit, for gain, for some kind of benefit, right? And they use, the magic words are force or fraud or coercion. So that means that it could mean somebody is forcibly put in a space. But we see that so infrequently. What we see is a person is exploiting someone for sex or labor. Could be sex trafficking or labor trafficking. That's what human trafficking is. So it could be that they're using force, but really more what we see is people use coercion and fraud. They lie. They make promises. They say, if you come with me, I will, be your girlfriend or boyfriend, or I'll get you medicine. You can earn medicine to help your dad, or you can be a star. I'll help you be a model, or whatever it is. They promise to be some kind of benefactor, right? That's the trickery. That's the lies, the fraud, deception. And then the coercion part is really, we like to call it like a prison without walls, in that someone says, I'm going to give you the cell phone, but you cannot use it to call a friend, call the police, get out of the situation, because if you do, then your sister's dead. If you do, I'm going to take your baby. If you do, so all those threats.
Wow. Okay.
Or I won't love you. In familial trafficking, what we're seeing is somebody says, hey, we need to keep the roof over our heads. Can you just do this and be part of this family? Can you just go out, on a Friday night and do A, B, and C? We need the money. And that's how you'll show your love. So that kind of psychological manipulation and coercion is there. So you see how insidious it can be.
Yes.
And that's why we try to tell people it's not the snatch and grab situations that are like the rule at all. It's this grooming process. It's this seduction into doing something for someone, and then you have that exploitation.
Very so.
Does that
yes,
help?
ma'am.
Yeah. So that's what we see. And as I've said, over the 250 plus people, we have never had a snatch and grab situation. They've all been groomed. They've all been convinced by another person to do an act, and to do that under force or fraud or some kind of coercion.
So does it takes so the grooming part, they're willing to invest the time and the effort into getting that person to trust them, because they're building trust with them, right?
Right.
So they're taking time, building the trust, and as you stated, it's usually a prison without wall. That was powerful. So they are I am going to do this for you. You don't have the money, but if you just do this, or do they start doing it first, like taking care of whatever they need first?
They do. They take care of everyone, and it could be they have a drug habit,
and they'll take care of that.
And they're get
grooming
and groom them, get them addicted. And you're so wise to pick up that word investment. It's making me think of a podcast we do where the very first, it's called Imagine Freedom, by the way, for your listeners. If you want to, we interview only survivors.
What is it called?
Imagine Freedom. So wherever you get your podcasts, you can search for it now, but Imagine Freedom, the very first, and I thought when you said that, you knew about it and listened to it, because we talked to a survivor, and she said when she was being sex trafficked as a child, what she said, point blank, and it's so clear, she said, my trafficker invested in me. He bought me the jewelry. He bought me the shoes. He took me on trips. And she was just in her teens, right? And so this was an older guy who came in, and her parents were thinking that she was stealing all that stuff. They were saying she was a bad kid. They had no clue that she was being controlled by this older guy. And she said he was investing. He was investing his time and money. And then there's the demand for payback. So, and also by that time, who loves you? Who's going to take care of you? I just need you to do this one thing. Or you got to do this for me now because I did invest in all of this. And you owe me.
Wow. So are the people who are trafficked, are they usually younger people who are in some type of dire need, or how do they get their victims?
It's really anyone who has a need, who has a vulnerability that the trafficker will take advantage of. And you know what we're seeing now? Like, okay, so I'll give you some examples here locally. When we saw the epidemic of oxy, right? And people were getting more and more addicted. traffickers took advantage of that by making sure that they would tell people they could get them that drug. And when they couldn't have any other way to get it, then they were able to kind of get them into their clutches, if you will, by making sure they could get this drug. And so
Wow.
they pounced on that unmet need and that phenomenon of that epidemic. And one of the epidemics we have now is how expensive housing is.
Mm-hmm.
So what I keep sharing with people is landlords as traffickers is a phenomenon. That's a new thing. That's, at least it's something that's getting more identified. Like during the pandemic, it sort of started where a landlord would tell, say, a mom and kids, I won't evict you and you can pay the rent by performing this sex act on me. That's trafficking, because what that's doing is exploiting another person.
Yes.
Using coercion. The coercion is you and your kids are going to be on the street unless you do this to me. That is actually a form of trafficking. What we're seeing here now in Leon County is because we have and all of our areas, because housing is so expensive, right? So landlords will say, for you to live here, you have to do the following. And they will threaten to call immigration. They'll threaten to call the police. They'll threaten to evict. They may force people in there, and it could be an apartment, it could be a hotel, motel. We had a case here recently that involved a local hotel. They make those threats and people don't have any place to live, so they comply, but it's under duress. It's under this force, fraud, and coercion idea.
And they're afraid to tell because they have been threatened.
They've been
some type of, wow.
Yeah. And the other part is, because traffickers also are involved in so many other crimes, like if they say, I need you to go and shoplift these 10 gift cards at wherever. So the person does that, and then the trafficker holds that over their head. If you go to the police, I'll tell them what you did. I'm just gonna make a report. You're gonna be on the hook for that. And we see people being arrested. And there's even a term for it now. Another one that wasn't there when we started is forced criminality. And what is that? That is somebody saying to another person, you do this or else. It's a form of labor trafficking. And what that trafficker will do, and this is what the literature discusses and some of the research is, they'll get like those gift cards and then they'll sell people online for sex. They'll advertise for sex. So it's actually like it can be a pretty complex operation. And the exploitation of that person's, whether their body or however, that's part of a wider sort of criminal enterprise.
Wow. If y'all have any questions, you can put them in the chat. Those of you who listen on the radio, unfortunately, we're not able to take calls at this particular time, and I do apologize. But if there's any way you can put them in the chat, or call Dr. Hill, write down your question for you, and we can, she can address them while she's here. And I have Miss Robin, we were texting, we were on an email, and I made a comment to her that I am glad that she's here, that she will be on the show, because she has more knowledge than I do. And I'm the type of person, if I don't know, but I want to have that topic, I want to get an expert or someone who's more knowledgeable than I am. Because today I would have told you to watch out for that white van at Walmart and be careful when they pull on the side of you.
I'm not saying that's never happened, and I'm not saying you should go hanging around.
Oh, no, yeah.
But it might not be trafficking.
The good thing about it, now we're getting better information. You'll be better informed and paying attention when little Susie don't want to play with the other kids. And she's 13 and we're at the family reunion and she's kind of sitting back looking or something like that, or just whatever, we can pay attention. So Ms. Robin, again, thank you so very much. We're not ending. I'm just so glad she's here to give us this information. Again, describe some of the victim. I mean, what they look like, or what we can expect. Or,
oh, right, yeah, you had said that, and we help people. I mean, someone could be trafficked as a child, sex or labor trafficked. So we're talking about kids as young as 5 or 6, and there are cases nationally where a toddler was actually sex trafficked and used for sex. Yeah, sold. And it could be people who are in their 60s and 70s. That's another trend we're seeing, is that people who are getting government benefits are exploited in the context of getting those benefits. So I heard from a law enforcement officer about a construction site where the foreman or whoever was doing all the building, he tried to find men who were on Social Security benefits or getting their benefits to work there. And what he said was, he promised them, a place to live or whatever it was, and then said, but you have to give me your government benefits. And of course, those didn't kick in until the person's had their, had disability or started to get older. So, because it's about labor or sex, we do see most people in their 20s, 30s, and I would say some in 40s that we're helping. But I don't want anybody to think, oh, I'm out of the range of being able to be exploited. I mean, I've spoken to senior citizens group, and they're like, no way it could happen to me. And I'm thinking, oh, contrary, it could. I mean, It's not going to look like what you saw in the movie Taken. It's not going to look at like what you see on TV, or even a lot of the kind of sting operations that are done, because a lot of those are focused on younger people, which is great. I mean, there should be a lot, but when that only is shown, when those kinds of situations are shown only, then other people think, oh, I'm off the hook. In fact, I brought this out, and I can show this to everybody. This is one of the tools we have on our website. It's called Talking with Youth About Human Trafficking, and it's a resource guide for caregivers. When we worked on this, Dr. Judy, we talked to a lot of moms and dads and coaches and kids, and just trying to get a sense of, what do you think trafficking is? Do you know, one of the moms said, I don't have to worry about my daughter because she's a tomboy. She dresses in like baggy clothes all the time. And that helped us to say it could happen, because she may be the one who is, say, on the outside of a friend's group, like maybe not the most popular. So where's a trafficker going to look? He's going to go to that person who is kind of like, looks lonely, looks like she's not like with it, doesn't have connections with all these friends. She might be, anyway, you get the point. So that's why we try to get out there and say, it's vulnerability. If somebody has a vulnerable, something in their life, an unmet need. And I know enough about you too to know that you've been doing anti-trafficking work forever. Every time you've helped someone who hasn't had their needs met, you've helped them to be less vulnerable to a trafficker. And that's for everybody. So that's part of our, kind of what we like to put out there and build is, we're all in this to help people who have a vulnerability to get over, past, address it somehow, so that they're not vulnerable to the kinds of come-ons from traffickers.
Let's talk about technology, social media, and our little dark areas. Talk about that for a moment, Ms. Robin.
Sure, and I'm so glad you mentioned that, because traffickers recruit online all the time. So it can be youth or adults. It could be somebody who is, again, thinking that they're talking to somebody who's a benefactor, who's a friend, who's someone's trying to give them a hand up, and in fact, they're trying to seduce them into a trafficking situation. So I'll give you some examples. If you have a child who's playing any kind of online gaming, right? DMs, direct messaging that happens on those, are ways that traffickers get in, posing as another 16-year-old boy, or somebody who goes to their school and starts to ask them questions like, well, so do you have any brothers and sisters? And does your mom and dad let you do pretty much what you want to do? And I think I saw you at school. Is that, and then they'll try to, again, ingratiate themselves, connect with. And it's in fact, a 50-year-old man in Russia who's acting like that 16-year-old. And then what do? Then they get that youth maybe to take a compromising picture, right? Might be a nude, might be some sort of thing. And then says, oh, I'm going to send this. I know your church group because you told me where you went to church. I'm going to send this to your church group unless you do the following for me. You got to meet me at such and such place and do what my friend tells you to do. So and that's called sextortion, and it's also trafficking, right? So that the online, and I'll tell you, we have a wonderful program coming up this Friday that I'll tell you about. But one of the things that I learned from our Department of Children and Families is that trafficking victims now are saying, especially youth, are saying more and more they've never been in the same room as their traffickers because it's all happening online. All the recruitment, all the threats, right? All the things. So the technology can facilitate it, and they're really smart about convincing people. We've had adults too. I'll tell you another story. Graciela, I mentioned. Graciela is at the Carney Center every week, and she's talking to people who are there because we are looking at our community's most vulnerable, right?
Yes.
And she was talking to a woman one time who was a resident there, who was very pregnant. She was desperate to get out. She wanted to get a job and work, and she said, well, Ms. Graciela, can I tell you about this job opportunity? And she said, it's to go out of town. All I need is a white shirt and khaki pants. And then she started to tell her more about, it sounds really good. The money sounds really good. But I just asked them, why can't I stay here and do it? They said, no, you have to come out of town. It's no big deal. We'll find you a great place to stay and give you food and blah, blah, blah.
Oh, wow.
And guess what? She started asking questions and then realized that she was being tricked. The job offer, this online job offer that sounded like it was the best, that it was too good to be true, was too good to be true, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't want anybody to think, oh, this kind of coercion and trickery only happens to kids or to youth. It can happen to you as an adult too. Thankfully, in this case, the woman got wise to the scam, and it might just be a scam. It might not be trafficking, but it's a way that a trafficker can enter in.
And it's good she went and talked.
And exactly.
Talk with someone, because I'm thinking they don't often reveal this, do they?
No, they could only reveal a little. One of the things that this one said though, that kind of tipped her off. She goes, she said that the person said, I don't know if it was a man or a woman, but said, listen, and try to keep it quiet, because if you tell people you're going to be making this kind of money, they're going to want to know about it. And then when you start making the money, your friends and family are going to be so happy for you. So let's keep it quiet. That was like, wow, one of those things where she said, that's not right. And so when you said, I love what you said at the top, when you said we're here to inform and empower, not sensationalize and fear. So she kind of got wise through her own experience. And she told Graciela, please tell my story, because I want other people to know that this happened to me. I almost got sucked in because I was so desperate for a job. Wow. I'm about to have a baby. I wanted to make sense. I wanted to be able to do something. I wanted to get out of the Carney Center. I was so desperate that my kind of common sense clicked off. But with Graciela's help, and that's what we do at STAC. We'll talk to somebody who's at risk of being trafficked, or people who are have actually had the experience. But anyway, it was again, online technology. And I got one the other day on my STAC cell phone about to come on for a job. Totally looks sketchy to me, but my radar are way, I got a satellite dish up here, not getting radar, right?
Yeah,
so,
I
don't know, but you know what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am. So, Ms. Robin, what is being done? I mean, because we know that the social media, we know that is full of danger.
Thank you.
Full of danger. So what is being done, or what?
Yeah. And I like that question so much, because there's so much good that can happen on social media, right? You can share information that's true and everybody gets it. But there's also this kind of sensationalizing, that happens. Like there was something, and I've presented recently to two groups of high schoolers. And on both of them, I said, hey, has anybody seen the post where they say that there's a tissue on your door handle that's laced with fentanyl? If you touch it, that's a trafficker. They're going to make you like touch fentanyl and then pass out and snatch you. And these girls raise their hands, and I said, that's a lie. I mean, not that no one's ever done that, but that is, like we talked about, that's not a trafficker's technique.
Okay.
But you can see that someone would be like, oh my God, I want all my friends to be safe. I'm going to share this. And then they'll say, I'm safe from being trafficked because I'm never going to touch that door handle. Oh, but I am going to go with so-and-so who DM'd me the other day when I was playing Minecraft. So that's why we want to say those sensationalized stories, check with a trusted source. When you say what can be done, don't share. I say don't share those things that are like really sort of clicking, like, oh my God, that's so horrible. They beheaded the victim. Mm-hmm. Please, contact a trusted source. It could be us, surviveandthriveadvocacy.org. It could be the National Human Trafficking Hotline.
Do that again.
Okay.
You gotta write that down while
okay, sure. It's Survive and Thrive, all spelled out, advocacy.org. That's the name of our website. And I'll give you our phone, 850-597-2080. And what was I going to say? Oh, and you can just call and check in. You can also look at various places and just don't share it until you see that this is a thing, right? This is a real thing. So I say that. I also like what can be done is people knowing the National Human Trafficking Hotline, mm-hmm. which is 888-3737-888. So 888-3737-888. That's a 24/7 multilingual hotline. Okay. And then you can call them up to report a trafficking case. If you think you're being trafficked, it's a place for you that you could get connected to law enforcement. And if you were like, gosh, is this happening with my son, or is this happening with my, my uncle? I can call and say, can I talk to you about what I'm seeing? And they'll just talk you through, as we will. So you're more informed and empowered.
I was going to ask you, what if you're not sure if that particular situation is a possible trafficking situation, or what do you do? But you just explained it. Just call and talk about it anyway.
Yeah, Graciela and I did a training for all the guidance counselors, social workers at all the Leon County schools. We did that a few years ago. And I got a call one time from a school social worker who did just that. This is what I'm seeing. This is what we saw in terms of this child's behavior at the high school. This is what we know about the family. This is what we've seen her friends say. Do you think this could be trafficking? What should I do? And what I did was say, yes, I did. And we're not going to know for sure. You're not going to know for sure. It's okay not to know for sure.
Okay.
Sometimes we don't know for sure.
Sure.
But if you see a couple things that are making you feel like that person doesn't have agency to do what they want to do, come and go how they want to go, they feel like they're being controlled by somebody, they do have that unmet need. Mm-hmm. You might see some red flags that say something's just not right. It might be trafficking, it might not, but mm-hmm. reaching out for help is the first thing. Like don't not do anything, mm-hmm. right? The other thing is if it's a child or a vulnerable adult, we are mandatory reporters to DCF. Like mm-hmm. we need to involve them. If we think a child is being abused or trafficked, and traffic is an official maltreatment from the Department of Children and Families, we are obliged to call and get that connection to services. So I think I just went off on a tangent, Dr. Judy.
Yeah, that was good.
I don't know. I don't know. Did I answer your question? I don't know.
You did. Okay. And what are some of the most effective strategies for preventing human trafficking? Because I think if we can, today you're informing us, mm-hmm. you're giving us good information. Several people here have already shared it on their Facebook page.
Thank you.
Which is good. Thank you all so very much. And thank all of you who are tuning in, listening. those of you who will listen to this later, but we want to give us some examples of how we can prevent human trafficking, if at all. Well, I know you just mentioned a few minutes ago too. Any way we can help people become less vulnerable.
Yes.
That's one.
Yes.
But what else could we do?
Well, I think the road to understanding this is a long one. So we're starting down that road now. So I would say the number one thing is to continue to inform yourself and inform those around you about what trafficking is, and as we were talking about, what it is not, so that people can say, I think this is what it is, and that means going to websites like ours. It's rich with information. Like this Friday, we're having a webinar at 1:00, and you can go to our website again. And it's about understanding traffickers' tactics, just what we were talking about. So we're going to be talking about that for 90 minutes with two experts, with a law enforcement officer and a DCF trainer, and she's been an investigator. She's really great, both are. So I'd say continue on that path of knowledge, of learning, of saying it out loud. Because I'll tell you, the other thing that I've heard from survivors, and this was from a child at a high school who said, she actually said to someone she thought was a trusted adult that she was being trafficked. She didn't use that word, but she said, this is what they're doing to me. And I said, well, what happened then? And she said, nobody believed me.
Oh, wow.
Same high school, another child said, I know what you're saying is true because it happened to my best friend. And as I was looking at her and talking to her, there were tears coming down this teenager's face. I said, I'm so sorry this happened to your best friend. How is she now? And she said, she killed herself. And both of those cases were cases where a child in these cases came forward and was not believed. So, that's not specific to trafficking. That's specific to all kinds of child abuse and other things going on in the community. So how can you be that trusted adult for a child? How can you be that trusted friend for another adult if you're an adult? So that you are informed. And so I would say inform yourself, believe, know how to get help is the third one. And you get there by knowing the resources. I've had people come up to me and say, I just saw guy walking down the street with this kid. Something wasn't right. During whenever there's Spider-Man movies, people talk about my Spidey sense went off, right? I'm saying, okay, two social workers at a hospital once called about this case, and she said, our Spidey sense. So I'm like, okay, what is that Spidey? That's that intuitive voice that says something's not right here. Someone might be in danger. If it's one of those cases where it's an emergent situation and like people are getting into a car or driving away, call 911 and report it. And again, you're not liable. You won't be sued. You suspected something's going on, and say human trafficking. Same thing if you call that DCF hotline. If you suspect human trafficking, I think this is human trafficking. What does it look like? It looks like this car, this person, these two people, these three people. And I don't know if it's that, but I'm afraid for this person. Something is telling me something's wrong. So I would say, let people understand they can call 911, they can call that national hotline, they can call our phone number, and we can talk through what do you think, and then take action. Does that mean maybe our advocate will go out and talk to them? I got a call once from a board member who said, something's up with the work crew out at the Publix, such and such, and told us where it was. We think that work crew could be being labor trafficked. I'm afraid that might be the case. So our advocate went out and talked to them. I don't know if it looked like they weren't getting breaks or if they were unhappy or if they had physical. I don't know what caused the person to ask us, but Graciela went out, talked to a bunch of people, and if they had been trafficked, she would have started to work to get them help. In this case, they were not trafficked.
Okay.
They were fine. They were working hard. It was hot. It looked bad to somebody. They had seen some trafficking program. Good on them. I'm glad they called.
Yes.
Right. And then she was able to say, hey, and if you do know of anybody, we're here. So those calls help people to not just push it aside because it's an awful, terrible reality, but to inform. So when you talk about prevention, information is number one, knowing help is available. And if someone you think is being trafficked, really, honestly, just you can say, hey, I just heard Dr. Judy's call today. I think it's more common than people know. Could this be happening to you? Could this be happening to your kid? Let's see if we can find out more information, and just let's open our eyes to it and then take action of some kind.
And as you just stated, if someone tell you something, err on the side of caution,
Yes.
and just pay attention. And maybe sometimes people don't say anything because the people don't care anyway. So let's help the best we can.
Yeah.
You know? So give us some more talk to us for the next 2 minutes.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So I want to tell you all the hotline again. The national 24/7 hotline is 888-373-7888. And hey, can I ask people to like us on Facebook and Instagram? Okay.
Yeah.
So Survive and Thrive. I don't know what our
Advocacy.
Survive and Thrive Advocacy, just or Stack. Stack FL is our handle on Facebook. I've memorized that one. I should memorize these things, Dr. Judy. But if you just search Survive and Thrive Advocacy Center, you will see us on Instagram and on Facebook. And actually, Carly is here. She was just cueing me. She's already posted on our website. Also, I'd say go to our website, surviveandthriveadvocacy.org, and sign up for our newsletter. You'll get all the information about these programs that are free, about how to do a training, or ask us to do a training with your office, with your business, with your church, with your school, and then we're talking this whole area too, not just Leon County, but Gaston and McCullough and Franklin, all around us. Let's all see if we can get together and just get smarter about it and work together. The other part, I didn't say it yet, but I have to say it takes a village. There's no way to do this work alone. We do not intend ever to be this giant nonprofit. We only want to work with. We want to be a strong, effective nonprofit that collaborates with people like you, people like, the Springfield Church in Gretna last week, with the hospitals, with law enforcement, with all of the kind of collaborators in town. We want to be arm in arm with people. So it takes a village, and is that 2 minutes? Have I talked enough to kind of get us there?
Yeah, you got us there.
Right.
And but Ms. Robin, I want to thank you. They have put it on Real Talk with Judy page. We'll share this.
Thank you.
We'll keep sharing it. And if you all, I like what Ms. Robin said earlier. Your eyes can't see what your brain don't know.
There you go.
Your eyes can't see what your brain don't know. So today, your brain has been given a lot of information in regards to human trafficking. I remember, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but there was like over 100 and something people arrested here in Tallahassee or this area for trafficking. I think it was over 100 men and women.
Yes.
Were arrested. So traffickers are not just she explained that to us earlier. It's not just men.
Right. It could be a grandmother who's a trafficker.
Grandmother.
How about that? That was one of the biggest cases in
That's
Florida.
right.
Was a grandmother who was the recruiter because no one suspected.
A grandmother.
Yeah. It was a small crime family.
Yeah, come on, Granny. Granny gonna traffic in your grandchildren and your family. And another thing, and we're in somewhere near here, but even churches, pay attention. We was told that, Ms. Robin, you mentioned it when we had our last victim of crime committee meeting about churches, how they the traffickers allowed people to come to churches. And then Pastor Thomas Colbert, who teaches sexual harassment and stuff, stated they allowed them to come and befriend other children or befriend other people to get them to be a part of their squad.
That was a recruiting technique, in other words.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, recruiting technique.
Yeah. And or they might just say to someone, if you behave, if you do all the work I tell you to do, then I'm going to let you go to church. It's a form of manipulation.
Wow. So yeah, we have a lot of information. You got a lot more information. You have the website. Ms. Robin, give out your number and contact once again. If you are contact her. If you have an organization, anything you want her to come and speak, invite her. She will come, give good training. I have a certificate in it.
Yes, you do.
I do. And the information has been fantastic, and it helps you because I believe as human beings, we don't want to see anybody hurt. We don't want to see anybody exploited. I believe that's the goodness of the majority of the people in this world, that we really don't. And Tallahassee and surrounding areas, and those who are listening to me, and have people listening all the way in Scotland and Paris and all throughout the state of Florida and other areas, pay attention. Pay attention. I don't know if Ms. Robin would come over to Scotland or not, Cindy, but
I'd love to. I've never been to Scotland. I'd love to.
bring
go.
on over there.
Okay, yeah,
I'd
let's
come
go.
with
Let's
her.
go together.
I'd come
That's
with
what
her.
I want. That's what I
Okay,
want. Both of
but
us.
Ms. Robin, I want to thank you so very much for this information. It has been eye-opening, very informative, and helpful. There it is.
Oh,
Look.
thank you. Look, they put that online. This is our Friday program. This is when we're going to be talking about all those tactics of traffickers. And our training program, the one you got your certificate in, I didn't mention this exactly, but the website StackPro, STACPRO.org, the word G. StackPro.org is an online training that people can take just whenever they feel like it.
Oh.
It's free. You'll get a certificate, or we can come and do it live for you as well.
Okay.
But that's also another way to get super grounded on what this issue looks like here in our part of the state. So stackpro.org. And also our phone number again is 850-597-2080. And I'm Robin, ROBIN, at surviveandthriveadvocacy.org.
Hey, great show. Thank you, Ms. Robin, for being here. I greatly appreciate it. So, everyone, as we conclude our discussion for today, I hope we've all gained a deeper understanding of the complexity of human trafficking, its various forms, its hidden nature, and its devastating impact. While it can feel overwhelming, remember that awareness is our first and most powerful tool. So let's carry this conversation forward, remain vigilant, and support the efforts to identify, rescue, and restore survivors. So I want to thank you for your participation. Ms. Robin, again, I want to thank you for your information and your passion and what you do to help these survivors thrive.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. I'm so grateful to you. I mean, you're just such a inspirational person and leader in our community. So it's humbling, and I'm very honored to be with you today. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, y'all, look, so that concludes our show today. I know it was a great show. That's all I bring, great shows and great people. So, but I want to thank you for joining me again. Share this on your Facebook page. Share it everywhere. Join me every Tuesday night at 7:30 for our virtual Bible study, Transforming Tuesday. That's our Transforming Tuesday. And those are two of our elders there, but one will be teaching tonight on Bible study, and the other will be teaching prayer point. Remember, and then join me every Sunday. Join me every Sunday for morning worship at Life Changes, 601 Mississippi Road here in Tallahassee, Florida. Our pastor, the awesome Dr. Jeremy Trail, that's my husband. So anyway, remember, human trafficking is near you. Be watchful. That's Oh, right before that, Sunday at 5 p.m., we're having Building the Whole Man One Day Conference. It is going to be powerful. It is being hosted by Pastor Jeremy Drell and the men of Life Changers Church of God in Christ. That's Sunday, June 22nd at 5 p.m. Be there. God bless you. That's Real Talk.
Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy on the radio. Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy on the radio.
I got